week I covered the first of the Blackwell Ghost film series, and I knew right away that I wanted to watch the rest of them. I kind of figured that I'd be watching, maybe one a week, maybe one every other week, but I don't know. I really wanted to see the second one because I wanted to see what he did with it. I wanted to see how he expanded on it. Would he just do the same thing as he did before, or would he break down the mythos a little bit and make it its own thing? We're gonna find out with the Blackwell Ghost 2. So Turner Clay's going right back to that old house, back to that investigation of the house, in what he calls a sequel to his original documentary. After being provided with some new information from somebody who knew Mrs. Blackwell personally, Turner begins to follow clues that ultimately bring him back to the haunted house for one final stay, making it yet another documentary that shows actual ghost footage captured on camera. So one thing that I forgot to mention about the first film was the marketing. Part of the marketing was that he basically said, this is an actual documentary, not a mockumentary. What you see in this movie actually happened, it's actual ghost footage, and basically it's a flat out lie. If you look into the making of the film, it's pretty much obvious. Maybe that's just because there's 7 of them now, and when it first came out, it was a little bit more questionable. I'm not entirely sure, but the fact of the matter is, when it first came out, he was trying to sell it off as a real documentary. And the second movie plays off that idea and continues it. I'll try to explain how in a second, but yes, the movie does indeed dig a little bit deeper into the mythos. At least the first half of the movie, you got Turner Clay looking into these artifacts that belong to the original Blackwell family. He goes around the house, he digs up a really old safe that he has to break into to figure out what's going on. And in that safe, he finds a bunch of human teeth in dirt. And it's disgusting and it's great, but it stops there for some reason. He's like, whoa, this is too much for me. I'm gonna hand this over to the police. And from there on out, for the rest of the movie, it's basically the first movie again. He finds out that the original owner of the house is selling the house, which means after that point, he won't be able to investigate the house anymore. He's like, hey, listen, before you sell the house, can maybe I stay over some more days to figure out once and for all what's going on in your house? And yeah, he's allowed 3 days, which is exactly what happened in the first movie, 3 days. And those 3 days, it's basic paranormal activity, found footage stuff again. The actual activity, the actual things that happen are improved upon. More things happen, which is what you want in a sequel. But the fact that the second half of the movie is just the 3 days again is a little bit disappointing to me. I wanted them to look at those teeth and dig deeper, figure out what that meant. Why is there a box? I wanted them to do that. It gave them an open window to do something different, to expand upon it on a 3rd movie, 4th movie, 5th, 6th, 7th. We know that there's 7 out there. I don't know what it does, but there are 7 movies. So what does it do? Because I'm not sure, because at this point, they abandoned that story and just went back to the basic found footage stuff. So while it did add to the story and it added to the mythos, it wasn't quite enough. Another thing that this film did, which I've never really seen in found footage before, is it kept it meta. Because Turner Clay, he is an actual filmmaker, and in the film, The Blackwell Ghost, he talks about making zombie movies before he did the Blackwell Ghost documentary. And he did. Turner Clay actually made these zombie movies, and in fact, in the second movie, he's like, listen, in between the first and the second movie here, I made this zombie movie called Raccoon Valley. I looked it up. He did. In 2018, he made a zombie movie called Raccoon Valley. So it takes place in our real world, it's meta, and it makes the audience that much more believe his story, that this is real. And not only that, but he actually addresses people's complaints about the first movie. He talks about people who reviewed the first movie and how they think they caught him in lies, and he's like, no, that's not the case. This is what actually happened. And then he would start breaking down whatever and cover up his lies and mistakes from the first film. And to me, that's hilarious because it's not in your face funny, but it's more like under the surface. It's like inside joke funny, which I think is an incredibly welcome and pleasant surprise when it comes down to horror, found footage, all that. There's some seriously meta inside joke stuff going on here, and I love it for that. I thought that that's probably the smartest thing that this film did, because once again, it's trying to make the claim that it's real. And from what I personally know from found footage, that's the best thing that you can do when it comes down to the marketing. Take a look at the Blair Witch and everything that they did behind the scenes to make people believe that the Blair Witch was an actual documentary. Turner Clay is essentially doing the same thing because it's not really found footage, it's just a documentary. It's something that he's edited and he's put out there on Amazon Prime and whatever, and you see photographs, screenshots of Amazon Prime, people's reviews of the first film. That was brilliant. Turner Clay, if you're watching, bravo. However, if I was forced to pick between the first and the second film for being scarier, I would probably say the first, because that was, one, a little bit more believable as to it being real, and two, it was more of a slow burning progression. There was a lot of storytelling in that one. There was a lot of lore and legends and things of the nature. So when you get that, you get a little bit more spooked. This one's more traditional, especially in the second half of the film, where more and more paranormal things start happening around the house. Chairs get moved, doors opening and closing. You hear a lot, and I really do mean a lot, of creaky old footsteps going around the house. In terms of paranormal happenings, this film really went up, and I can only guess that the sequels from here on out do the same. They just get crazier and crazier and crazier. That can work depending how you do it. In my opinion though, I do think that the simplicity of the first film was a little bit better than this second one here. Though I do have to commend the man for whatever he was doing behind the scenes as far as technical stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't say that the film's all that scary. I would say that I was still engrossed with it. I was still engaged fully from beginning to end. And I'm still really geared up to see Blackwell Ghost 3 to 7, because one thing that I do know is that Turner Clay stopped making zombie films after this. He has been non-stop dedicated to the Blackwell Ghost series. From here on out, it's just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No more zombie films. So that could mean true dedication. That could mean putting your best foot forward. So I can't wait to see what he's got brewing next. Now, let's take a look at my final score for the Blackwell Ghost 2, which I rated a B- letter grade. Final overall score of 73%, 73 out of 100 possible stars. You will see from my unbiased and biased scores down below, it's quite a gap. The unbiased score is kind of low because it had a strong first half, but the second half was just basically rehashing the first film, and it really just needed to expand on what they were figuring out in the first half. My bias score is a much higher because I did have a lot of fun with the movie, especially when it came down to when it was doing its meta, tongue-in-cheek, inside joke stuff. I love that. I hope to see more of that in the next film. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the Blackwell Ghost 2 in the comment section down below. Do you think that this film is better than the first one, or do you think it's more of a mediocre sequel in the entire Blackwell Ghost series? Let me know. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next Blackwell Ghost film review. And until then, peace out!